Hello, everybody. Give us a minute. We're trying to get things organized here, and this is our first webinar in Zoom. So bear with us. Hold on one sec. Rachel, are you on? You should be able to hear me. I'm not confident everybody else can hear me. I don't know if there's something I need to do to start this thing.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Let's see, chat. I hear you. Okay.
Yeah, they can hear.
All right, great.
We're new to Zoom. Sorry.
People, I apologize for how unprofessional we are right now. This is a new thing for us. So I'm going to give it a minute while we get the other people. We'll see how many participants can join us. Happy Friday, everyone. It has been quite a day for sure. And Stephanie's here. Let's see. So Rachel, you can see the chat, right? We'll assume she can. She's probably muted.
I'm muted. Yeah, okay.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We have a few people here, and if more people join, that's even better. So first I'm going to start is thank you for joining us. We appreciate you joining us to hear about our new products. I got to move the Zoom thing. It's in the way of me double clicking. What I'm going to do is start with the kiosk and talk about some of the new features of the kiosk, which is, because I'm multi-monitor, is huge right now. And I'm running it in what's called non-full screen mode. So it allows me to float it around, which you normally can't do at your stores, but we can show you how if you ever want to. All right, so this is the new kiosk. The biggest features in the kiosk, the new feature is the idea that you can now have multiple service options. So you can have two service options. They can be a combination of express printing or standard cloud printing or local printing. And if you get any combination therein. So for example, when a customer comes up and let's say you have a DX100 or a DNP printer set up, you can simply click here, choose your devices. By the way, here's a little secret if you didn't know. Double clicking up on the top corner will give you demo mode. And then if you click media card, it'll just add images automatically to your account. You don't need to actually insert anything. So now I'm in the demo mode and I can actually go through and now print my express orders. Notice I have my three express products. The good thing about express products is they can be taken, they don't have to be displayed on your website itself. They're only in the kiosk. So they can be filtered out of your MyLab. So when you do, you can have different pricing for your 4x6 for express and your different pricing for your 4x6 standard fulfillment. Notice as soon as I join the kiosk here, I also have these two, what we call stock collections available. And that's a new feature of the new Photo Finale system, which are stock collections. These are images that you can have available for every customer every time they load the kiosk, load the website, or load the mobile app. Stock collections can be things like this, which are local scenery. So if you're in a tourist location, there can be photos of Whistler, if you're on Whistler Mountain or wherever you are. Or what some people are doing is they're putting content up there, things like party invitations, and they're using the Imagely editor to add text. And then you can have a very simple, easy way to add content to your website. So essentially, that's how it works. As soon as you come into the kiosk, I can simply go back and start over again. And I can, instead of having that, I can have, well, I do want to start over. If I don't want an express order, I can then go in and I can have a full menu of products. Oh, I didn't hit demo. Let's go back. Click. Now I can do it. And now you'll notice that when I go in here, I'll have the full menu of products available through my entire system. Okay. So one of the questions is, what happens in Express for creative products? What will happen for creative products is they won't be selectable. They'll still be in there from an information standpoint, but they won't be selectable during the information. So now we have available Express printing, which is printing to a local printer, local printing, which images, instead of going to the cloud, will go just over your local network. And then we have our traditional cloud printing available. And that's all available now in the new kiosk. Please download it and go from there. So that's a quick look at our kiosk. Let's take a look now at Print 50. As you guys know, we've been suggesting Print 50 for about 2 years now, and we would really like you to make the switch. If you're running the new Express mode or local mode, you will need to be able to run the new Print 50 software. Please launch. Oh, it's on my other machine, sorry. I have 2 monitors here. All right, sign in. So Print 50 is the same as Lab 50 from a functionality standpoint for ordering, except for it has a lot of enhancements. The main enhancement is speed. It's much faster than the Lab 50 system. Another enhancement is that it's 64-bit, so it can have larger amounts of memory, more products available to it within the system. It's also got a more modern feel, and we recommend moving to it. Certainly, if you're using the new Express, you have to move to it. Some of the advantages of Print 50 are things like it's hyperlinked. So if I click on anywhere on like Rachel Van Tassel here, it'll link directly to my MyLab and go right to that customer's information, right into MyLab. So if I'm logged into MyLab and Print 50 on the same machine, I can have more information about the product. I can click here and see the full information about the order, including all the statuses that have happened on that order and every bit about that information. So Print 50 is fully integrated with MyLab, which is a pretty big advantage. Now, Stacy from ProCam is on. We did add your email address because Stacy requested email address is on this page. So the new version of Print 50 does have an email address on there as well. So essentially, aside from that, it works exactly the same. It's a little better with images, handling the images as well. So if you look at details, you can see the images in greater detail. It gives you a little bit better view of the images. So as you browse around, it's just a more modern look than Lab 50. And we recommend you moving towards it for all production going forward. Okay, so that's a quick look at Print 50. Okay, so let's take a look at MyLab. Well, first, real quick, is there any questions about the kiosk or Print 50 before I move on? You could type it in the chat window if you want. If you see them, Rachel will let me know that there's questions there. Okay, so let's take a look at MyLab and some of the changes to MyLab. As most of you know, MyLab is the tool that you go to manage your entire lab now. We've added a new section called General Settings. And if you go here to General Settings, you can set things like your currency now, your tax lookup rules, your prepayment configuration. These were all previously set in Lab 50, but now you can set them in MyLab. And you can change all this information right in MyLab. This is also where you set your collection tokens, and these are the collections that you would have available for those stock collections. And the way you put a collection token in here is essentially that's the URL from your collection. So if I'm looking here at a collection in an account, I take this information right here after the PF, and then I would paste that into MyLab. Where was I? Paste it right here, and then you would have that stock collection available for all your customers. It's as simple as that. And that's stock of collections. So Dio is asking a question. Can things like coupons and promos be set in Print 50? Print 50 is never going to have configuration tools. That'll be aged out of Lab 50 and put into MyLab. Lab 50, all the functionality of Lab 50 is not gone yet. So you still need to use Lab 50 for certain settings like promotions, discounts, emails. Those things are still done in Lab 50. Our goal is to have Lab 50 retired completely from a configuration tool. From a production standpoint, it should be phased out already. You don't need to use it anymore for production. Okay, So the new general settings is in My Lab, and this is found under store management. Down at the bottom, you'll see down here, product exclusion tags and product inclusion tags. And this is used for the kiosk and for the website. So let's say, for example, I developed a set of products called that are just express prints, 4x6, 5x7, 8x10 express. I could do a product exclusion tag by doing express prints, and that'll exclude express prints from the website from display. And that's one thing you want to do. So if you want to have express prints available only in store, you would go and you would exclude it here. Simple as that. A product inclusion tag are products that are active in the kiosk itself. So that's how you set that. If you have any more questions about this information, Rachel has a fantastic video she shared, and it's available on our wiki, and it's available by requesting it from our support team. I believe it's also on our YouTube channel if you want to search it in the YouTube channel. Okay, some other settings for the new products, the new Lab 50, sorry, is let's go into our product catalog. I'll just go to the default catalog. Give me a second. Let me just go into a product, photo card. Let me choose a product. Let me do a print product actually. Here. Second. Sorry. Go into a print product, standard print, edit. Okay, so when you go into the products itself, you'll notice there's a new setting when you get in here, which is where is it? List of options, product tags, dealer tags, product assets. I lost it. Not croppable. So see this setting right here called not croppable under dimensions. If you set that, it'll have a product type skip the cropping page in the user interface for the consumer. Now, why would you want this? Some people want this because they don't, like if it's a professional photography, like they don't want the customer changing the crop. So if you were using a event system, you would want non-croppable images for your prints. That's how you set that there. Or let's say you wanted to have a digital size product. So maybe it used to be the old days, we had something called a 4x-D or a 6x-D, which is, forget about the aspect ratio. It's going to print 4 inches by whatever the size is. If you click not croppable, it'll have that product size can be variable and it will send the entire image down to the printer. And then you can handle it that way. Another reason to use non-croppable is if you wanted a digital product. Let's say, for example, you wanted people to be able to add images to a USB stick. You can create a product called USB or digital file, make it non-croppable, and then the full res image will then go into a folder for you to save out later on. So that's a setting, a new setting called non-croppable. If you want to set that, it's available there. Okay. Of course, all of you know by now, PF Kiosk is where you do your setups for your kiosks. So let's go ahead and take a look at the kiosk setup real quick. Settings. So when you go into settings, you can change which kiosk you want to set up. So let's just set up 9985, which is Rachel's. In here, you can set up whether you have a scanner attached. For those of you who don't have scanners yet, you can attach scanners that are locally connected. You can change how your payment's occurring. And then you can also set your fulfillment modes. This is how you set up your express, your local printing, or your cloud printing. So essentially, you're going to go into your fulfillment. You're going to give it a name, full menu of products. If you remember from the kiosk, that was the one on the right. Give it a description. And then you're going to say, is this a cloud-based, which is your standard system? Is it local? And what local means is it copies the images across the LAN to your Print 50, but the metadata still goes to MyLab and down. So now you have all the information you want from a MyLab standpoint. And then Express means it prints directly to a printer. And you can have both fulfillments. You can have two fulfillments, and they can be set either way. And here you're setting, in this fulfillment, an express product inclusion tag. And by setting this, what you're saying is any products that have the instant print tag will show up in this workflow. And if you remember in my lab, the way you set up, see, where was I? Let's go into my lab. We're going to go back to our product catalog real quick, and I'll show you where you set that. Okay, when you go into a product, you can go down here. And then, oh, we'll go to the product first, sorry. All right, if I go into the product, I can set a tag down here, master tag or supplier tag. And you can add a tag right here called instant print. I'm not gonna actually do it because this will screw up thing, but I can add the instant print tag to this product. And then now that'll be included whenever I go to the Express on the kiosk. So that's how you add a tag. You can also add tags here in the product tag section. Instead of doing it by product, you can add multiple products to a single tag in the tag section, which is another way of looking at it. Does anybody have any questions about my lab or some of the new features of my lab? Okay,
there are two more questions I sent you.
Okay, sorry. Are you going to give us the ability to edit like Lab 50? I know who's asking that question, John. Yes, we've looked at that. One of the things we didn't consider was Lab 50 had an old piece of functionality that we didn't even know anybody used, which is if you double clicked on an image, it could launch an editor of your choice, Photoshop or what have you. Print 50 does not have that functionality. We will be adding that to Print 50. That is a very old legacy piece of functionality, and we just forgot it was even there. So yes, we'll be adding that. How do you download Print 50? Print 50 and Lab 50 are in the same exact package and installer. So when you download your Lab 50, you can download Print 50 at the same time. So you already have Print 50. If you run Print 50 from your computer versus Lab 50, it will work. But where you would go is to software and downloads. And then you'll notice here, Print 50 and Lab 50, you want to click this and download the latest version. And this is the latest version of the kiosk. And you can download them both here. This is also a great location to get marketing kits and marketing ideas. So you can come here and browse all the options that are available from different suppliers and as well as marketing kits. Is my lab getting phased out? No, so my lab is not getting phased out. Lab 50 is. My lab will be where all your configuration goes over time. My lab will always persist, as will Print 50. Lab 50 will be aged out over time. Yes, you can get a copy of this video. This video will be available. We'll post it through a newsletter as well as Rachel's videos for how to configure your express and local printing options. We'll post both of those. All right. So anyway, this is where you get software and downloads. By the way, if you guys haven't turned on Collage Wall yet, this is if you're in Canada, you want to click on this one. If you're in the United States, you want to click on this one. This will give you all the information about Collage Wall, the two fulfillers. In Canada, it's somebody called Don's Photo, who's a PhotoSource member. And then in the United States, it's Dan's Camera, who's an IPI/Pro member. So good partners there. What else do I want to show you about my lab? I think my lab, those are all the new things. Certainly if you have questions, ask them. We can help you walk through things. But let's take a look at the website now and what's new on the website. Notice I'm logged in on the website now. I don't know why I hit the refresh button, which made me go get all my images again. So you'll notice now when you do upload, we have this new cloud storage system. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet. This is a feature that's available to anybody who's got the user enhancement bundle. If you click on this, you can now upload directly from Facebook, Instagram, Google Photos, Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, and Box. And then there's this cool feature called Unsplash, which I love, where you could get free stock photography. So I can just type in NASA and I could find photos that I can then add to my photo books, my calendars, my canvas, what have you. And now I can get free stock photography for people to use throughout our system. I put this the biggest collection I have, unfortunately. Maybe I need to do smaller thumbs. All right, and there's my Unsplash image that showed up right there. So you'll have the ability to do all sorts of cloud images. So if I go upload cloud, you can do all of those. There is not a plan to do iCloud because Apple does not allow it. That's an Apple thing. Apple, if you use iCloud, you want to use the iPhone app, which we have the iPhone app that you can license, or you want to use it on a Mac PC. But iClouds is not accessible via an API like the other systems are. It's only available through Macintosh products or Apple products like iPhones or Mac OS. So we can't add iCloud there. Is Print50 a licensed software installed on one computer? Print50 and your Lab 50 license are identical. There's no difference between the two. So if you have a Lab 50 license, you just switch to Print50 on the same machine. You don't have to do anything different. It'll automatically launch. Let me just show you real quick how the Facebook integration works. I can just connect to Facebook through the uploader, and now it's going to give me all my photos. And who knows what random photos I have. And then I can view these photos and then upload them right from Facebook into our Photo Finale account. And then now, this is the photo I just uploaded. Looks like I had a watermark on it. I have watermarks in this album. It's probably a feature most of you guys don't even know about. Did you know that when you go into collection settings, you can set things like watermarks in privacy, which is also something that's available when you do sharing. So you can have albums that you share, you publish the collection ID to people, and they can have to have a password to access it, or it has to have a specific URL. So right now you'll see I have watermarking turned on for this collection. And I can turn it off if I want. I can change my privacy and sharing for this collection or my general knowledge. Of course, you can download at all times. So those settings are by collection, not necessarily by user. What else is new in software? The big thing is the cloud upgrade and the express and local printing. So Stacy, I don't see admin features from Print50, coupons and promos. How do you access that? So yeah, Stacy, so Lab 50 is still going to exist for promotions, coupons, and emails right now. Over time, we're moving all that functionality to My Lab. So on the same PC you run Print50, you can always run Lab 50 to set up a promotion or coupon, and you close it and run Print50 for production. And you could also run Lab 50 on a separate machine away from your production, and just contact us and we'll help you set that up. But our goal is to get everything out of Lab 50 and into My Lab for configuration. In Print50, is there a search function for by customer or name? No, you would use My Lab for that feature. So essentially, you'd be running Print50. I don't know if I have it still running. The Print50 integration, but you would do that here where you would have My Lab running on the same machine as Print50, just to keep it logged in, and you want to look for Giordano. You would use that here. And then you could go in and find the information about the Giordano you're looking for. And then you could look at their order history and then that order number and find the information. So My Lab will be the tool. Well, the advantage of Print50 is that it'll links directly into your My Lab when you're looking at production. Because Print50 is more production tool, not necessarily a dashboard or a CRM or anything. It's really meant for production. So once it's running, You would see your orders here, and then you could link right into that order to get all the information about the order. But it's all linked. But if you wanted to then search for an order, you can then type in, you know, the order number, and then you would get it. And you would get that from MyLab. Okay, let's see if there's other questions. So what else is going on in MyLab or the website? I gotta figure out if there's anything new that I'm forgetting. Rachel, if you think of something I forgot to show, please let me know. Of course, you guys all know about our new wall decor system, Collage Wall. If you haven't turned that on yet, is that on demo, Rachel? I don't know if we have it turned on.
Yeah, I think it's under wall decor.
Under wall decor?
No, maybe not.
Yep. We didn't do it for ourselves. But if we went to, I'll pick on photo.rite aid. So if I look at Rite Aid and I go into wall decor, if you look at Collage Wall, this is a product that's available to you now, which is I really highly recommend. The average sale is about $185 right now on Collage Wall. So this is something that is a strong product and easy to turn on. You can add. We've also added a couple new suppliers in Canada. There's a supplier called Placket. If you're familiar with them, they've been popular in Canada for a while. We'll have a new supplier going live, funny enough, by probably early next week called Art Crystal, which does things like wine carafes, decanters, things like, I don't know if you guys can see my camera, but you can see pieces of glassware and glassware samples. They'll be available more than likely early next week. They're just finishing their setup. We know it's close to Christmas, but they wanted to see if they could sneak in and do some business. So we have lots of new suppliers that are available as well. Is there a way to see if the order is paid by Stripe or PayPal, etc.? Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So there's a couple of ways to find out about an order. You can go in and look. I don't know that this account has a lot of good data. I'm going to switch to a different account. I'm going to pick on Bedford's for a minute. Bedford's, if you're online, I apologize. So if you go in, there's a report called Online Sales Detail Report. And if you run this one, it's called Online Sales Detail. That report will tell you everything there is to know about every order. And if you scroll to the right, you can see the order status, order source, all the customer information. Then you see how the customer was charged. This is by order basis. And then all the way down to payment status and how it was paid. Right? And that'll tell you everything about individual orders. If you want to know about particular payment provider, you would come here and you would run a report. And I'm not going to do this because that's more of a secure thing. You could run your online accounting PayPal or online accounting Stripe or online accounting authorized.net. And this will tell you your transactions that went through each one of those providers. So that's how you can find information about how somebody paid and what they paid and run a report on it. In Print 50, if there's a balance due, it means it's not paid for. If it was paid, it would be say marked as paid. Okay, what if we don't want our team to have access to the full MyLab? I'd like to clarify remote teams that don't need access to coupons and promos, but they need search functions. Well, there actually is a user setting. So you can set up rules for different users. So each Lab 50 user can have different access to different things. So if you need help setting that up, please contact our support team. So you can have users that don't have access to things like the catalog, but have access to search and order history. So you just want to set up different users for your MyLab. So the dealer ID will be the same. just the username wouldn't be dealer admin. It would be Jimmy and then Jimmy's password and then whatever he has access to. That's set up in Lab 50 right now, but it could also, our support team will help you set that up if you want to set up different rules for different users. Lab 50 had an icon for PayPal. Interesting. I think we can add that. I think that anything that it was in Lab 50 can be in Print 50, and we just have to add it. So we'll take that as a note and make sure that's added very shortly, just like we did the email address. Is there a way to utilize the email addresses collected for marketing? Yes, as a matter of fact, you should be doing that on a regular basis. So let me go ahead and switch back to my lab. If you come back here to my lab, you can run a report called Online Customers Email List or Online Customers Email List with Product Ordered. Now this is the Online with Products Ordered is a very comprehensive and complicated spreadsheet, but fun for if you want to dive into data for a while. But I recommend just running a customer email list. You just run that, and this report you could export now and send it over to your mail programs or whatever you want to do. In the US and in Canada, as long as you have an opt-out or a unsubscribe link, anybody who's ordered, meaning their email's in here, you have permission to email them after they've ordered for up to 2 years. One time. If they unsubscribe, and then you're out. But you can definitely send them an email if they've placed orders with you. No problem. The other thing you could do is you can go to the marketing tab right here. See, I ran quite a big report there. I'm not going to. You run the marketing tab, you could generate a new email campaign. And you can actually look through and say, I want to look at all my iOS app customers this year. I can update the count and say you got 1,400 users. Show this list. And now I can copy and paste this list into my email program. And now I know all my iOS app users. Or I can come here and then go to all my online customers this year. And I got 12,000 of those. So now I can just show the list, cut and paste, and then output that email address for use online or for marketing. So you can use the marketing section to look through customers, to look at different demographics, registered members versus unregistered members. Excuse me. Not logged in, has logged in, spent more than $1. For example, this is a great one. I want everybody who spent more than $100 the last year. We got 12,000 users that spent more than $100 in the last year. Oh, wait a minute, I probably have multiple things selected. So I'm going to go ahead and update that count again. I have 2,000 customers that spend more than $100. These are my good customers. I want to talk to them. Or I can say I want people who've placed more than 3 orders in the last year. These are my active users. So I want to send them a different type of communication. So you have access to all this information within my lab. And this is all good tools to use. Any other questions? Feel free. I'm going to go back to demo and really talk about the prints workflow and the new upload option. See, the new cloud upload is really fantastic. Okay, wait a minute. There is one thing I want to talk about. When I'm looking at images here, this Imagely, this is an interesting thing. This piece of software in 2020, in about this time, November, was getting about 19,000 uses per month. Of 19,000 people would use Imagely Editor per month on our system. This year in November, we're at 185,000 uses estimated. So in October, it was about 160,000 uses of the editor. in the month of October. Customers are really using the editor to a degree they never did in the past. And it's something you guys should really become familiar with. The customers can do things like change the tones and filters. They can change colors. They can add text. They can add different types of fancy text. So they can do things like that one. So now imagine somebody can make t-shirts, they can make their own greeting cards, they can do anything. They can change it to look to a different style. Try the deco style, the decal style. Right, so people can play around. They can also do things like effects like mirroring, and they can do, you know, I don't know why this is popular, but people like to do this stuff. These rain effects, I don't know. But you get the idea. The Imagely editor has become very popular and you should be very comfortable with it yourself. And people can really do lots of crazy things in our system now. But you see that was very quick to be able to edit and add all that stuff to an image. Okay. Somebody is asking a question about the about stock collections. Yeah, stock collections are available. So if I come here, I have it turned on in sandbox mode right now. But stock collections are when you have a set of collections that are available for every user that are there. So for example, we're in Washington, D.C. So now customers can have access to stock collections that are available. So they have their own photos, but then they also have the stock collection. And the way that's set up is in MyLab. Just go to MyLab, sign out, 855. So we go into general settings. And then what you can do is this is where you paste your collection token. And your collection token is essentially, did I lose my page? The collection setting right here. So if I was logged in, I need to log in. Second. So this collection token right here is what you would then put into your MyLab collection token. Where get too many tabs, I would put it right here. So that's how you do collections. So you could do that for sports teams. You could do it for content. You could do it for artwork. What I think the original person who asked me to do it was going to do it for all the high schools in the area. So he wanted to have all the high school logos and the buildings and the fields for all the high schools, so that when the moms made the graduation posters, they wouldn't have to have a terrible photo of the high school that they took. They would take the stock photo of the high school that the photographer took and include that in the collage wall. It's a centerpiece. So that's what collection settings are all about. Okay. One question about the editor. Will we come out with a basic editor for simple brightness and adjustments? Or is this only going to be a full editor? So it has the brightness and adjustments inside that editor. We don't think we want to take away functionality from the user. So if they come into this image and edit it, they can always go in and just click here and mess around with brightness and contrast and just do those items. Saturation, clarity, highlights, mess with the blacks a little bit, and then save. And then they could do that right there. So we're probably not going to take away functioning from the editor. It's very fast. It's very easy to do. It really doesn't take much time at all. Like I said, over 165,000 people using it last month. We think about 185,000 impressions this month. It's a very popular feature. Okay, so if we switch our kiosk from Print 50 to local, can I get access to all of our locations' orders? So the answer is yes for the order information, no for the images. If you switch to local or express, basically what you're saying is we don't want images going to the cloud for production. We want everything to be local. So it's faster, but you lose a little bit of functionality for the speed. So you're just balancing what you want to do, speed or convenience. I personally think the cloud is the best option for everyone because it gives you the flexibility over time. However, I understand that some people think are really need a time-based issue. So that's where local and express come in. But I prefer the cloud myself. Let's see if we switch our. Here's some good info about the 3 routing modes. Okay, good. Rachel posted a link if you guys want that. We were forced to switch to local because of cloud issues and orders are not being received. So the advantages of the local is the images are going to be local and quick. The disadvantage of it is the images aren't in the cloud. There has been timing issues that happen with image unavailables with the cloud, and local probably works better for you in that case. It usually has to do with a timing issue, and we fix the issue downstream, but it probably impedes production from time to time. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen for sure. Okay. So it sounds like local would be the best bet for you, Stacy, if I was going to do that. Does anybody else have comments or questions, things they want to know more about? Of course, you guys all know about the download functionality, where people can download their photos. This is what you do for rolls of film if you're uploading rolls of film for people. This is the digital file we're talking about. If you chose the digital file here, it's not going to go through the cropping screen. Notice it skipped the cropping when it went right to it. So now I'm just downloading those digital files. That's what you would do if you're selling photography, for example, through our event system. Dio, I'm not quite sure I understand the question you're asking. Order rerouting did not work in Print 50 earlier. Has this been fixed? Rerouting only works if it's a cloud order, and then it should work just fine in Print 50. I'm not sure. One of the other things we did in Print 50 now is it also will tell you that it's a kiosk order. If you remember when we switched over to the cloud printing, everything showed up as a web order in Print 50 and Lab 50. It will now show the actual order source now correctly in Print 50. So that's also a nice update to the new Print 50. John is saying John was, by the way, John was one of our beta testers and helped us get our local printing and express printing out. So thank you, John, from Caledonia Photo Source. The express printing is having issues with cropping and saving the crop and printing in instant printers. Yeah, we saw your note. I think your issue today that you had on that had to do with you were still running .49 or .50, and 51 addresses that issue. That's the price of being beta, my friend. So we appreciate your help. By the way, everybody benefits from everything you did for us. Is there a way to export digital files from the passport template? Not right now, but that's a good suggestion. We can definitely take a look at that. I don't know that we've looked at that ourselves, but we'll put that in the queue for things to look at. Yeah, I think, John, version 51 is going to address your issues for sure. on the cropping. So. So Stacy's saying that she had some issues with the cloud in the last several weeks, and will also be addressed with the cloud back. So I think the cloud system is by far our preferred method in the way we would like people to operate. If there are issues, they will be addressed. Most of our systems, so if you think about the tens of thousands of kiosks we have in the marketplace, I would say 9,800 of them are currently running cloud. All of those kiosks, any issues they're having, we're addressing on a regular basis. Most of the issues that we've had with cloud-based image uploading and image unavailable have to do with a couple mismatches for file types. There's a new file type called web. I forget what it's called. It's like a web ping file. It's been very popular with Google these days. And then it has different headers, and that can create some issues, usually with screen captures off iPhones and Google Photos. There's also been some issues with mismatches of color profiles, and that's generally where all the issues occur. So as we get more used to these new file formats, those issues should be addressed over time. There's always going to be some issue though. But the new system has a lot of fail safes, whereas if there is an image unavailable, you can reprocess that order in MyLab yourself, and it'll ignore any errors, but it still have the images in MyLab if you wanted to take a look at them. If I take a look at an order here, I don't know if I have any orders in this. Let's see. Forget where that reprocess. There's a new reprocessing functionality, and I forget where that is. This is a new feature, by the way, where you can set different settings, or you can set all these statuses yourself for orders if you need to rechange the status. Okay. Any other questions? I think if there's anything else I need to make sure we go over. Of course, feel free to reach out to us. A little bit of background on where we, Stacy, I'm gonna have to find the reprocess thing. I forget where that is. Maybe Rachel will know and she'll Slack it to me and tell me how to get there, but I forget what the reprocessing is. We're noticing in Canada that the season started early. Canada looks like they're about 9 days ahead of where they were last year for volume. So where we thought that we had, let's say, for example, we hit 200,000 orders a day. We hit that 9 days earlier. That's kind of a metric we have. When we hit 200,000 orders a day, then we know that's when the Christmas season's ramping. So Canada hit 200,000 orders right around the 1st of November, where it normally hits right around the 10th. So that's a nice little bump. Whereas in the US, they're about 7 days ahead of where they were last year. So both countries are doing very well production-wise ahead of last year. And the real question is, will this production hold until Christmas? That's what we don't know. Do we just move Christmas earlier, or we have a larger sustained period of time? But overall, you guys should be very busy right now. I don't have enough numbers for Europe or down under to mention anything there, so I'm not going to mention anything there. But certainly US and Canada are doing very well this year. Okay. Is there any way that if a customer brings in a memory card, we could put the pic on a DVD or CD for them? Well, that's what the this option for the digital file does for you. So if you turn on that feature, make it non-croppable. Is it only in, I was in demo. Yeah, so you have the digital file here. So if you turn on digital file, they could take any photo they want, price it however you want, and add a digital file. And then when you get it to print 50, it'll save to a folder and you can put that on a USB stick and hand it to the customer. And that'll give you the full res file without any cropping or anything. So that's what you want to do. And you'll notice when I go here, it'll skip right to the end. It's not even going to the cropping page. Versus if I had one photo in here that I also had a 5x7 of, it would then show me the cropping for anything that's a 5x7. But not the digital file. Okay, so John, I don't know if you saw Rachel's note, but the fix for your issue is in the API, will be published tonight. So any other questions, guys? We really appreciate everything going on this Christmas. We know it's busy. We know squeezing some time out for us has been hard this afternoon, and we appreciate it. We're here for you whenever. What's 9661? I don't know what that means. Okay. But we look forward to your business, and we appreciate it. And feel free to reach out to us. You guys all know my email. Oh, kiosk only service charges. See, service charges, we do not have one that's kiosk only right now, no. The service charge is a global setting right now. We could look at carving that out to mean kiosk only, but right now we don't have that. Okay, well, I appreciate all of your time, everyone. I look forward to hearing from you. Sorry, this was a little bit disjointed. We're all getting used to the new software ourselves as it just got released. And again, we appreciate all your time. Oh, anyway, here's a Q&A. It should, oh, so somebody's asking, can we add a ship stamp on the invoice similar to paid or rush? You know, that's a great question. And that's something we can look at. I'll find out if that's something we can add to the invoice right now or not. But I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, but we'll find out. All righty, guys. I appreciate your time and thank you very much.